Hey guys, how are we getting on today? So today we're here with Dr. Anthony Dowd. So Dr. Anthony Dowd, he runs a dental practice in Cove here in Cork. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us here today.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for coming down.
No problem at all. So Anthony's just going to share a bit of his knowledge and wisdom all around dental health, which I believe is going to be really important, especially for a lot of teenagers to supposed to encourage them to look after their dental health a bit more.
It's very important.
Yeah. So supposed to start off, so what was it that got you into dentistry?
Well, I wanted to follow a career that was going to be hands-on and creative. I liked the idea that I could help others. I wanted a job that was going to be varied and allowed me to meet all different types of people. And I just wanted to look for a sense of fulfillment in becoming my own boss and controlling my own destiny.
Awesome, excellent stuff. And I know that when I came to you the first time, that what I loved was the kind of a holistic approach that you take, that you spoke to me a lot about. It wasn't just about dental health, but about everything else that was happening around my lifestyle that could actually be contributed towards my dental health. So what was it that made you take, I suppose, a holistic approach to what you're doing?
Well, I suppose you know it's very, very important. Prevention is better than cure, and it's always been a very important part of my job. So therefore, when I'm assessing a person's dental needs, I look into their diet, their oral hygiene, medical history, social history, habits, and stress levels to see what impact these could have on their dental health and well-being.
Yeah. So I suppose stress is a big one as well at the moment. I'd say that a lot of people have busy lifestyles. I think kids in school are getting a lot more stressed now as well, with so much stuff happening on social media and comparing themselves to others, and they need to feel and look a certain way and all this kind of stuff. So it's all probably contributing towards their stress levels.
Yeah.
And I suppose that then will have an effect then on dental health.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely. Just I think is the pace of life with all generations. And teenagers have it particularly hard, and so unfortunately stress is there in all our lives. It's really how we handle it and deal with it is what's so important.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so even just looking at teenagers, what would you find are some of the biggest challenges when it comes to teenagers looking after their dental health?
Well, teenagers in general don't realise that they could be storing up problems, that will materialise down the line. Sometimes they can feel invincible and have the opinion that the problems their parents and grandparents had with their teeth and gums just will not happen to them. I find, understandably so, that they don't always listen to their parents. So I try and find something in common with them to build a rapport, and then I can find that I can get the prevention advice across in a positive way.
Okay, excellent. And when it kind of comes to some of the challenges as well, I suppose that it's really about, like you said, that a lot of teenagers don't listen to their parents. And that was probably one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video as well. That the message is coming directly from you.
Yes.
As a professional, rather than their parents tell them what to do.
Yes.
Like, I find that as well, even with my personal training and stuff, that the parents, when I'm training teenagers, that the parents will come to me and say, "Oh, can you say this to them or say that to them?" Because I know when I say it to them, they won't listen, but if it's coming from me, then they're more inclined to actually listen.
Yeah.
And I think that happens with a lot of stuff, really.
Yeah, I think it's not just parents. I think we have to be very careful that you don't come across in a kind of a lecturing type of way. You have to have a lot of empathy for a person, and the situation that they're actually in at the moment, and very, very important to try and relate to it. And I think it's really, really important to listen as well.
Yeah.
And then try and give the best advice as possible in a non-judgmental and a very compassionate way.
Yeah, no, exactly. I suppose then what kind of tips would you have for say families or teenagers that want to improve their dental health?
I recommend a good diet and to drink water frequently throughout the day. Avoid snacking on sweets, chocolate, and to reduce one's sugar intake. Occasional treats are absolutely fine. Teenagers in particular are targeted by the food and drinks industry through marketing and colourful packaging. So they need to look past this and read the contents, which unfortunately are in very small print. You need to note that 4 grams of sugar is equivalent to 1 teaspoon.
Yeah.
Some of the popular fizzy drinks can have up to 15 or more teaspoons of sugar in a can. So cleaning your teeth also is very important. If you have oral piercings, try and use plastic as opposed to metal, or better still, to avoid all oral piercings. It is also advisable not to bite your fingernails or chew on pens, as this will cause tooth wear. And then finally, try and not let stress get to you, as one of its negative effects is that it could lead to clenching and or grinding of the teeth.
Yeah. And I know that was actually something that came up for me when I came to see you, that you were saying that my jaw muscle was actually really tight. And you were saying it was probably because of stress, and because of that then it was leading to grinding of my teeth.
Yes. You know, so a lot of people, when they do get stressed, they try and clench and grind their teeth. It's a way of kind of dealing with the stress, but unfortunately it has very negative impacts on the mouth and one's oral health. So we try and talk through that and you know, give people advice in how to correct that, and just basically you know, see an improvement in their oral health and well-being as a result.
Yeah, and I know for me it was something that I was doing at night, even when I was asleep.
Yes.
And it was only my partner was saying to me that I was grinding my teeth, and I was like, I'm not, like.
I know, a lot of people will be very unaware of it. So, you know, so with teenagers, we can spot it by looking at bite marks along the inside of the cheek. So in your case, you were fortunate that your partner actually was attentive and didn't fall asleep before you. So as a result, she was able to mention it to you. So otherwise, you wouldn't have realised.
Yeah.
And then we can spot it and just bring it to your attention.
Yeah, and I suppose as well that it's probably comes back to kind of more listening to your body as well, especially when you're under stress, because sometimes we may not recognise we're under stress, that we might think it's just the way we feel, but obviously for me, like I know I was going through a lot of stuff at that time as well, but it was obviously showing up when I was asleep, through my jaws and grinding and clenching and stuff.
Yeah, and I think then because a lot of it occurs at night time, and you know, downtime before going to bed is extremely important. You know, even if you have a hectic day and there's a lot going on, it's just try and switch off before going to bed and encompass part of the routine and call it downtime, and where you would just try and switch off and relax. And whatever that involves, you know, it would be highly advisable.
Yeah, I suppose even getting away from the phone a couple of hours before going to bed at least.
Yeah, relaxing the brains, definitely switching off the brains, you know, and that would be very advisable.
And of course then that'll actually lead to better sleep as well on top of that.
Exactly, and then you can start the day afresh and deal with life stresses then the following day, much better.
Cool. I suppose, and so something else that just kind of came up there was like you see all these different toothpastes out there and these different brands and different pricing and everything. Like, is there some specific toothpaste that you would recommend using?
Well, all the popular brands of toothpaste are absolutely fine. It's very important that toothpaste contains fluoride, and particularly stannous fluoride, and all those and that helps to strengthen the teeth, and so that's the type of toothpaste that we recommend.
So it's just looking for the fluoride in it.
Yeah.
And is there much of a difference between the cheap ones you can get and the more expensive ones you can get?
No, there's not actually. So it's a lot of the time it's a preference. So there's so all the popular brands, there can be a different taste in it, a different kind of feel. So whatever you're happiest with, and you stick with it. It's perfect. The most important thing though is to make sure that when you are brushing your teeth that you try and break your mouth into 4 sections, 4 quadrants, and spend 30 seconds then on each quadrant. So that's what's advisable. Okay,
excellent. And how many times a day then would you be recommending?
So I recommend to brush twice a day, morning and particularly just before going to bed. The nighttime routine is extremely important, and on the top of that you should really be flossing before you go to bed. So that's what we would recommend.
Okay, cool. And would you recommend using a mouthwash? Is that as important?
Yes, so mouthwashes are kind of important. There's 2 different types. There's therapeutic mouthwashes, which are extremely important, but you're normally advised to take those mouthwashes, so they would target specifically like for gum disease, if you had gum disease, or if you had high rates of decay, it would be a high fluoride mouthwash. So that would be under the category of therapeutic mouthwashes, and your dentist would actually recommend those mouthwashes.
And just on the brushing the teeth part, do you recommend people brush their tongue as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
so the tongue, and you can brush the tongue very, very vigorously, and the tongue contains an awful lot of bacteria and stores an awful lot of bacteria, so it's important to be able to give it a good thorough cleaning, and you can do that twice a day as well.